Welcome back. This is video 2 in part 2 of the intentional communication series. In part 1, we talked about the importance of your mindset and your psychology in building the foundation for confidence. In part 2, we are talking about the communication techniques you need in order to develop your confidence while speaking. In video 1, we talked about the importance of articulation and volume. And in video 2, we are going to talk about the importance of your pace, your tone, and your listening skills. Let's get into it. Now, your pace and tone are two crucial aspects of how you speak because they are very clear indications to other individuals of how you are feeling and what you are thinking. So let's unpack this a little bit more. Now, your pace is the speed at which you speak. Now, everyone naturally has a baseline pace that they tend to go to. If we were to use a rating scale of 1 to 10, some people would naturally be maybe a 3 or a 4, some people would naturally be a 6 or 7, and some people would naturally be a 5. And then, depending on how perhaps fatigued, bored, or excited and passionate you are, that would shift a little bit. Most people typically have a general range that they fall between, let's say 3 to 6 or 5 to 9. So it's important for you to start to figure out what your general baseline is and start to pay attention to what it is influenced by. So if you're feeling a little bit fatigued, a little bit bored, a little bit zoned out, do you tend to pick up your pace because the anxiety hits and you're like, oh my gosh, I wasn't paying attention, let me make up for it? Or on the other hand, do you just speak very slowly because your mind wasn't there and you have no idea what to process, right? There's nuance to this, and everyone has their own personal patterns. So it's important for you to understand what yours are so you can treat this accordingly. Now, it's important to keep in mind that pace and the speed at which you talk needs to have a little bit of variety. Now, we've established that you have a baseline, but it's important to understand that depending on the context, depending on who you're speaking to, when you're building your confidence communicating with others, you need to add variety to your pace in a way that sounds natural. Let me give you an example. If I was to just speak consistently slowly, after a minute or two, it starts to get very boring and monotone. And so even if it was soothing at the beginning, within 3 minutes, maybe even less, you are bored out of your mind. And by the same token, if you were to introduce speed, if you were to go a lot faster and process what you're saying in a very incredibly high speed, it might be engaging for a moment or two, for a sentence or two perhaps, but then after that it becomes way too quick. And in the previous video, we talked about cognitive load and processing speed, and this is not helping the other individual, the person listening to you, process what you're saying because it is just too quick. And so for you, it's important to just identify, again, what is your baseline? How much variety do you naturally have in the way that you communicate? And how can you increase that or modify it to come across as more confident for your context? Now, it's important to understand the nuance of your context because let's say you're working in a hospital. Maybe you're working in the ER department. In some cases, it will be extremely important for you to be able to have authority and speak slowly and be grounded for the person listening to you. But in other contexts, speaking slowly while someone's quickly waiting for information will just make you seem inconsiderate, okay? Now, let's move on to your tone. Tone is one of my favorite things to talk about because it is so often overlooked. Now, tone is not how loud or how soft you speak. Tone is the emotion that's conveyed in your voice. Now, this is my favorite example to use. Think back to when you were a kid, or maybe even now, and when one of your parents calls your name. Based on the way that they say your name, you know immediately whether they are happy and excited to tell you something or whether you're about to be in big trouble. And so naturally, all of us have emotions coming through when we speak. That can come through like passion, that can come through like boredom. And the mistake that I see most people making is trying to camouflage the actual emotion that they're feeling. And so what I want you to understand, especially if this is you, is that your emotion will always naturally come through. That's why when you're angry, it's so hard to rein in that anger and to speak in a way that's soft and soothing. If you're bored or you're disinterested, it's hard to have passion and excitement in your voice. And it doesn't matter if you're talking to a family member or a client, it's hard to fake it. Because again, faking it makes you pay attention to the way that you're coming across, to the way that you sound, to the way that you actually feel, and the way that you're pretending to feel. And that increases your cognitive load quite a bit, which is why most people can't do it for too long. And so when it comes to your pace and your tone, it's important to put the two together, because that's what really starts to bring out confident communication versus not. So you understand that you need to include some variety in your pace, moments where you speak faster, moments where you speak slower. But now we're going to layer this in and add your tone or the emotion that you're using. So maybe moments where you speak faster, you add a bit more passion and energy. And then moments where you speak slower, maybe you get more soothing, more friendly, more grounded, more quiet. When you start to layer the two together, that's when you get intentional communication that not only conveys how you are feeling and the emotions and the message that you're carrying, but that's when it lands in the listener and helps them feel the emotions as well. Now, let me give you an example. Imagine I was telling you that your pace and your tone are important, but I wasn't using much emotion at all. Everything was kind of the same voice, the same tone, not much variation to my pace. How long do you think you can listen to me truly before eventually and naturally your brain would just start thinking about something else, maybe about what you're having for lunch or having for dinner, and then slowly and surely, sort of like a hypnosis, you would find yourself drifting away and thinking about something else. Now, by the same token, how much more confidence and how much more credible and how much more trustworthy do I come across when I add in a little bit of variety? Change how I'm speaking, maybe add a little bit of passion about the fact that you need some passion, but then also something soothing and calm to really emphasize the point that I'm making. And then have that variety, have that emotion, and have just really a buffet of options for the listener to feel and to experience. Okay, that's what we are going for. And so to put this into practice for you, we're going to build on the exercises from the last video. And once again, you're going to go ahead and record yourself. And you're just going to speak naturally for at least a minute. Longer is better. And either talk about something about your day, talk about something that you would talk to your clients about. Use a context that you naturally need to use in your work life. And then you're going to put your phone down and you're just going to listen. And you're going to pay attention. How often are you bored of what you're saying? How often do you zone out of yourself? And asterisk here, do not zone out because you think your voice is cringy, because you have to talk. In the world we live in, we have to communicate with other people. And so others are hearing the sound of your voice on a daily basis. There is no shame in that. This is exactly why we do this kind of work, so that you can make the right improvements. But pay attention. How often are you getting bored? How often are you zoning out? But then also pay attention to your tone. What are you feeling listening to yourself? And again, cringe aside, but do you sound bored? Do you sound disinterested? Do you sound passionate? Do you sound like you're faking it? What is the impression that you get? Then, same thing, you're going to go ahead and you're going to ask for feedback from 5 people, family and friends, coworkers, acquaintances, whoever you feel comfortable with, and just ask for feedback on your pace, on your tone, and on your overall communication style. Most people are nice and they will give you some good feedback because they have good intentions, but just pay attention to the patterns. If you're getting the same kinds of comments, or if people are pointing to the same kinds of issues, then that's a very clear indication that you need to work on those first. So to put this into practice, once you've done those 2 exercises, you will have a much better idea of what it is that you need to work on in your pace, with your tone. Do you need to add variety? Do you need to take some away? What is your personal game plan here? And then you're going to start putting it into practice. So for the next week, at least once a day, you're going to sit down and you're going to record yourself speaking. And now you're going to be building on the skills. So now you're working on your articulation, you're working on your volume, you're working on your pace, and you're working on your emotion. Slow and steady. If it feels like it's too much to do all at once, record yourself for a minute working on one, then record yourself for a minute working on the second one, and just continue to rotate through and put in the reps. Just like going to the gym, you wouldn't see massive results after one gym session. I want you to think of this as your communication gym. You need to put in the reps, and you need to put in the reps consistently to see the types of gains you want to see. Okay? Now, we're going to pivot for a moment here and talk about listening, because listening is often categorized as its own different skill set, and to an extent it is. But when it comes to confident communication, it's very important to talk about your listening skills and specifically how well you listen to others. Now, I want you to pay attention over the next week to how often you're fully listening, and most importantly, how often you let people finish their thought before you jump in. Many people have a problem with interrupting with good intentions. They think that interrupting is them providing value, adding something to the conversation, or they mistakenly assume that they know where the conversation is going, and so they add in their input to sort of save the time and show that they get it. But this actually decreases your confidence communicating. Think back to when you were interrupted. No one enjoys that. And so if you want to be a more confident communicator, you need to develop the patience and the listening skills to fully let someone else speak, even if they're using filler words, even if their pace is slow and they're kind of boring. You have to learn to be diplomatic, to be professional, and to give people the respect of finishing their thought before you try to add value with yours. And so over the next week, I want you to just pay attention to how often are you interrupting, and what are you sort of thinking when you're interrupting? Are you excited to share your thought? Do you assume you know where it's going? Are you worried that you'll lose your train of thought and so you want to say it right then and there? What is it for you? And then once you identify that, it's time to start working on holding your tongue, to developing your patience, and to letting the other person speak fully, because a confident communicator does not have the need to interrupt all the time. A confident communicator does not need to justify and prove their points through interruption. They're able to maintain their composure, they're able to listen, and they're able to articulate their point after the fact, calmly and composed. So I hope you found this video helpful. Comment down below with what you're going to start working on first, and I will see you in video 3 of the second part of the communication series. Bye.